Hi everyone, welcome to Feeling Sisters with Sal. In our episode for today, we have a wonderful gentleman here who's an icon to Los Angeles for a very special mystic store. Let's welcome Jeff here.
Hi, Jeff. How are you? Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. So, Jeff, can you tell us first something about you? You know, like how you started, where it all began, because I know it's a magical story and a lot of people will probably get inspired.
Well, thank you. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me. Wow, where it all began. You know, I've lived my whole life pretty much in Los Angeles. I think it's just a fabulous city. And I grew up here. I went to college here. And then my one break was to go to law school. And I went to DC and I went to American University to go to law school. But I came back home and then I practiced law for upwards of 30 years.
Wow. You were hardcore.
I was sort of hardcore, but loyal. I was actually at one firm for the whole 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And so it was good and then not so good at the same time. I actually, I enjoyed it for about the first decade, and then my joy for it left really, and it really just. The adversarialness of being a lawyer and the stress and all of that stuff just was starting to wear on me. I tried to do other things. I got a real estate broker's license. I painted for a while. I had a show at Bergamot Station. I did all these different things, but I couldn't, what I call the golden handcuffs, I could never break them, right?
Interesting.
The security. And, but one day I remember I was like, oh my God, I got to get out. And I was like in my home, just lying on the floor. And I was like, if I don't get out soon, I'm going to get sick. And sure enough, a year later, I had cancer. And that finally began to give me the kick I needed to leave law. And so I had surgery. And they thought they got everything, and like, you're good to go. And so I'm like back at the law firm. They're like, just follow up with tests. So the first test, of course, there's another problem. And so they were like, you need to have chemo now.
I see.
And
so it's spread out already, right?
Yeah.
Because normally that's when they refer to for chemo.
Exactly. And so there was something wrong with my lymph nodes. And it was interesting or amazing. I mean, in that moment when they said that, I was just like, no, I'm not going to do this. It just didn't feel right. And so my best friend at the time was a doctor, and he was like, you need to do this. He's very scientific. And I was like, no, I'm not. He's like, well, let's make a deal. And I'm like, okay. So he's like, I'll give you 90 days and you do your natural foo-foo stuff, and then we'll test again. And so I put together a team of healers. I had an energy worker, a pranic healer, an acupuncturist, a body worker who, just sort of manipulated my body and things, and a regular therapist. And so I left the law firm, went on sabbatical, and did this for 90 days and tested again, and 50%. The abnormalities had shrunk 50%.
Wow. So it created positive impact in your body right away.
Totally.
That was instant. It's because if you see results.
Yes. Yeah. And so I said to my friend, so do I get another 90 days? And he was like, I guess so. And so after another 90 days, the abnormalities had gone away completely. And during that time, I was like, okay, this time, I mean, I really got the kick in the rear. I had to get out of law, or I knew I wasn't gonna get, cured or whatever the word is. And so I started to really get into what am I gonna do next with the rest of my life.
So what led you to the part of, we call it awakening, where your soul now is slowly waking up from, yes, chances are the law firm was your calling for that 30 years. Amazing 30 years. It has good and ups, ups and downs. But now that your soul is awakened to something, spiritual or energetic, that turning point, how did you find mystic journey?
Yeah, no, so that's the question, right? I mean, so many people are like, well, if I had all the money in the world, or I could just do anything I wanted, what would I do? And it's a hard question to answer, to really find something that can be fulfilling and satisfying for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
And I really came down to, what am I passionate about? And so I really, focused in on that. And there were two things in my life that I was passionate about at that time and really still. And the first was my spiritual journey, and the other was travel.
Okay.
And so I was sort of deciding between opening the bookstore and being a travel agent.
I know you did the travel.
Yes, yeah, and I still love it. But ultimately, I decided that to create my life going forward, I was going to do the bookstore. And at that time, back in '08, right at the moment of the crash,
Yes.
there was a venerable, iconic bookstore in LA called Bodhi Tree, which was in the West Hollywood area and had been there since the '70s. But there was nothing like it on the west side of Los Angeles, which is where I was living. And so I decided this is what I want to do.
And then that started
Mystic Journey Bookstore. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to create a one-stop place to satisfy all of their spiritual needs.
Yes.
So we had thousands of books. We had tarot cards and products and things. We were going to have events, and we also have intuitive or psychic readers so that people could come and really find all that they need.
And you even have a space at the back where people can do some crystal healing and little workshop and seminars at the back of the store. It's really like a community that you have built in Mystic Journey, which is very, very fascinating, because you came from a different side of the world. Yes. That was like, I've heard when I was in New York, lawyers become chefs, those are the common things before I was in New York. But here in LA, from lawyer to becoming, something of a spiritual, entrepreneur.
Right, a spiritual entrepreneur.
A spiritual entrepreneur. And once you've opened Mystic Journey, how did it make you feel? Did your soul finally said, yes, this is it?
So it's interesting. The line that really describes where I went to was that for the first time in my life, I could say, I love what I do.
I see.
That's really it. I mean, I had been so distant from that. And so, I mean, I love what I do. I mean, and I've come to realize that, unless you go retire and just, sit in a rocking chair or something forever and you're not bored, whatever one takes on as a profession or career or day-to-day job, there are going to be challenges.
Yes.
Nothing is just like, oh, everything's fine all the time, every day. And but the challenges that have arisen relating to the bookstore, and then we can talk about my crystal gallery.
Yes.
I engage them and embrace them and deal with them, and it's fine. I mean, I work through them. It's very different than in law, where there's just so much stress and deadlines and all of those kind of things. And I love what I do.
So you got into a new rhythm, and I'm sure your body now feels amazing compared to when you were dealing, with the stress of, being an attorney and a lawyer. Now, you mentioned also that, you have your crystal gallery because you have two stores, and one is an amazing it showcases amazing big, size of me, as far as like crystals. So tell me something about that store, because that one is a different concept compared to Mystic Journey. Can you share me what made you open that store?
So, I'll go back from it. During my healing through the cancer, part of the healing, one of the healing modalities that was used with me involved crystals, and so I actually was able to experience and feel. I mean, my body would vibrate when my healer would direct the energy to my body through this crystal. And so I had an affinity with the crystals. And then I watched over the years just the interest in crystals, both from the public and from myself, grow and grow. And the volume of crystals in our bookstore grew. And then I started to get some larger pieces. And I loved them. And so it was interesting because I really consciously didn't intend to open a crystal gallery, but I had been saying, God, I'd love to have a place where I could have a few more big crystals. And then out of the blue, my bookstore landlord just came to me and said, hey, I have a space you could put new big crystals in. And so it just came to me.
So the opportunity basically walked into your doorstep, and then you just said yes.
And I just said yes.
See, I feel like with your journey, it's everything just comes in sync in your life ever since you went in your spiritual path.
Yes.
And I mean, you look amazing. You look healthy.
Thank
There's
you.
no traces of anything. Your energy is,
No.
it's just so happy right now. Now, if there's anything that you want to share for anybody who probably would share some sort of similarities, if they're sick or even they're in a work environment right now that they feel like there is some bigger calling for them, what would be your best advice for them?
So my advice would be that we're creative beings, and we create consciously or subconsciously all the time. But the thing to really start to do is to begin to mentally create, what you want, and to work towards that both. And what I really learned from my healing experience is that the creative function works both internally as well as externally. I had been able to create lots of things externally, material things and whatnot. But I think part of the reason that the cancer came to me was to learn. It was a teaching experience that I can use the same teachings I had been given to create externally, to use them internally to heal myself. And so I would really, I would just tell people to, and it can sound a little cliche, but to really find, again, the hardest question is, what do I really want? What do you really want? And begin to focus on that and take small steps and have no doubts, and just keep moving forward towards what you want to manifest it, to create it.
Very nice. Now, for everybody who's watching there, for Feeling Sisters, we can see such an amazing person over here. I frequent the store, okay? Like every weekend I'm there at Mystic Journey. All information for Mystic Journey and also the Crystal Gallery, we'll put it down there. So if ever you're local in LA, you're traveling to LA, it would be nice. It's such an amazing experience in the store because it has its harmony. It has everything. And, and chances are you'll even bump into me there. All right. So thank you very much for gracing us with your presence today. And just my last message for everybody here, for people who watch Feeling Sisters, is that yes, with Jeff, like one step at a time, and at the same time, nothing is impossible as long as you try to find that inner happiness and then express it to the world. It will guide you to a wonderful, amazing, mystical journey. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, guys, and I'll see you guys again. Bye.